Hey everybody, Wyduck here again, this time with Game 2 of a Best of 3 series from the Russian Star League 2013 round of 16, and this time on Akilon Waste. We've got in the bottom right, spawning as the blue Protoss, playing for Team Invictus, and coming from China, we've got Jim. Jim unfortunately lost the first game to the player spawning in the top left as the purple Zerg, representing Team Acer, and from Canada, we've got Scarlett. Scarlett has a 1-0 series lead and only needs to finish off this game if she wants to advance to the quarterfinals. Jim went for some aggressive stalkers and sentry pushes, and unfortunately did not advance too quickly on the creep and was caught out of position. Couple key force fields did not go down at the right location nor at the right time, and Scarlett was able to reinforce with roaches, and that spelled the end of Jim in a game that barely lasted. I don't even think it lasted 10 minutes. It was a very fast game. So Jim's going to have to figure out a solution to this Zerg Queen. And Akilon Waste is another map where you could go for an early timing attack. And there are very, very special builds you can use on this map, such as proxy gateways. But it doesn't look like either player is going for any cheese. But Scarlett is going for the spawning pool before hatchery. So looks like Scarlett wants to build some Zerglings before getting the economic game into action. Jim, on the other hand, going fairly standard, getting a cybernetics core. He's got 2 assimilators going, but only 2 probes on each. Both of these players are very accomplished. A lot of people think Scarlett is one of the, if not the best non-Korean player. She generally gets compared to Naniwa in that category, as Naniwa and Scarlett, coincidentally, or maybe not so much, are both training in Korea. And that will definitely heighten your skills, as you'll get punished by Korean players if you make even a wince of a mistake. Jim, on the other hand, comes from China and is a very accomplished player from that country. But unfortunately for Jim, he's had some issues getting visas and things like that. Coming from China, a lot of countries don't really like Chinese passports, and you have to get visas, and you have to get special rights and all these other issues. So it's very difficult for Jim sometimes to attend other tournaments outside of China. And that is very unfortunate, as esports gaming is not seen as a professional sport, especially in the realm of Starcraft 2. I have heard that League of Legends is now getting more and more notice, and some places are recognizing League of Legends professional players as actual professional gaming. So it is a job, and so it's much easier to get visas when you're playing League of Legends. But Starcraft 2 hasn't been afforded that luxury as of yet. And so I'm hoping that will change in the near future. And then hopefully we can see more of Jim in other countries using his Protoss might and ingenuity and showing us what Chinese players can do outside of their own country. Scarlett is getting Zergling speed. And what we've got from Jim is actually a Stargate. And actually, this Stargate is not hidden at all. I don't think... Yeah, it was put down after the Zergling scouted above the ramp. So Scarlett has no idea currently that there is a Stargate warping in. And I really want to know what Jim is going to be doing with this. And a nice position with the proxy pylon by Jim. And Akilon Waste, this is a perfect position. There's 2 of them. You put the pylon on the top here, and you can warp units on the higher low ground, and basically give you immediate access to the middle of the map. And you also have sight as well, because ground units will go across this middle part, close to this ravine immediately, past this gorge, excuse me. So you're able to immediately scout incoming attacks or movements in the middle of the map. But Scarlett was able to scout that proxy pylon, so these 3 zealots probably won't be able to do too much. You're going to start whacking away on that creep tomb. We're going to finish off at least one of them, looking for the 3rd hatchery. Now, generally, players want to put their 3rd base here, so I don't think Scarlett has put a 3rd base down yet. These 3 zealots are going to go down immediately. Too many queens and too many zerglings. Able to pick off a few zerglings, but that was a horrible trade for Jim, and Jim's also going to lose the proxy pylon as well. You look at the resources lost. It's going to go up to 450 to 150, and also going to get supply blocked, but we also got a supply block for Scarlett as well. And Scarlett is going to counterattack at the front door, able to see that Stargate, but there are a few sentries here, able to put down the force field. Another force field goes down, but 3 Zerglings are already inside. Another force field goes down to protect this sentry, but the sentry's down anyways because there's 1 Zergling caught in the middle there. So very unfortunate for Jim trying to save those sentries. And remember, sentries cost a lot of gas. They cost 100 gas. So each one that goes down is a significant loss. That's another 100 gas you can't spend on Colossi. You can't spend on tech structures. So you do not want to lose sentries. And Jim lost 3 there. And that's a big loss. Look at the resources lost, 750. So Scarlett is definitely ahead. She's also getting her 3rd base, but we've got a lot of Phoenixes on the way into the main. We do have a Queen and a Spore Crawler and another Spore Crawler that is being building right now. And so Jim is able to pick up a few drones, able to pick up those 3 drones from the extractor, but he's going to have to escape now. Otherwise, those Phoenixes are going to go to the smithereens. And I like the fact that Scarlett does have Spore Crawlers at both bases currently. Her 3rd hatchery is also getting another Spore Crawler as well. This is a wise decision. But caught in the middle is the Queen transferring from the natural to the 3rd, so this Queen will go down. And these Phoenixes are just so annoying. They can do so much damage because they're so fast, and they do so much damage to light units such as drones, that they're a great unit for annoying harvester lines. And the Phoenixes are just poking around here. Resources lost are evening out. In fact, Jim is slightly in the lead now. There is a small counterattack of about 10 Zerglings going to the front door of Jim. Jim's got 1 Zealot there, but I don't think 1 Zealot can take on 10 Zerglings. But with the Immortal there, Scarlett is going to back off. Jim is also getting his 3rd. He's also destroyed the rocks already. So if Scarlett wants to get to this 3rd, Scarlett will have to attack these rocks and break down. That's going to give Jim extra time to prepare for an assault at his 3rd. At the same time, he's bringing in the Phoenixes again near the main of Scarlett. But he thinks better of it and is going to reroute itself. A fungal growth does go down, but unfortunately it misses everything. And a macro hatch is being set down by Scarlett at the main. Interesting play. That's one way to get extra creep spread, as there were very few creep tumors from the natural to the main. And the Phoenixes are going to retreat, and I like these burrowed Zerglings. They don't give a lot of scouting range, but they do give some. And Jim is going to block off this 3rd as well with 3 additional gateways. So if Scarlett wants to break down this wall to get to this Nexus and the probes, it's going to take a lot of work. Blink is on the way, as well as Void Rays and Colossi. We've also got Adrenal Glands and +2 melee attack for Scarlett. So Scarlett should have the upgrade advantage. Jim does not even have +1 weapons finished yet, so for the rest of the game, it looks like our Protoss player may be behind in upgrades, and that is a huge, huge disadvantage. You always want to be up on upgrades. If you're behind, that gives the opponent such a huge, huge edge. The Infestation Pit is complete. Ultralisk Cavern is out, and now basically Scarlett has everything at her disposal other than the Spire. Getting armor upgrades for the Ultralisk as well. +1 weapon attacks is almost finished for Jim. And this is important because Zealots can then two-shot these Zerglings, because the Zerglings do not have armor upgrades. So instead of three-shotting Zerglings, they two-shot them, and that is a huge, huge bonus. That's 50% more efficient. But Scarlet's creep spread is halfway across the map now and is in a great position. The Infestors are going to have to retreat. Seeing those Colossi is going to scare off those Zerglings. And look at this burrowed Zergling, costing time and money from Jim. He's going to have to bring an Observer here to clean up that burrowed Zergling before that fourth can go up. Or Jim could just put down a cannon, but still, it's a lot of lost mining time. So for the low cost of 50 minerals, look at how much mining time Jim is losing. So this is a huge, huge play by Scarlett. Smyline will get picked apart by these Zerglings. I think a retreat is tactical, and yes, Scarlett is going to retreat. Got lots of Ultralisk here as well, and now the rocks are going to be targeted by Scarlett at the third. Unfortunately, this choke point is very small, so Scarlett has to be hyper aware of what might occur. And if an attack comes in, she might get stuck in between the rocks and a Protoss force. So Scarlett's just going to send in a few units at first to pick away at this gateway. Jim is just waiting around. He's not sure whether or not he should engage. He's getting Zealot charge and +2 weapons, but unfortunately for Jim, Scarlett already has +2 weapons herself. Fungal Growth goes out on all those Phoenixes, so they're going to get picked apart by the Corruptors. And a huge engagement at the front. Ultras do fall. The Colossi are firing massive laser beams everywhere. The Archons are getting chewed apart by the Ultralisk. Most of the Ultralisks are dead. Transfuses are going down, but with only one Ultralisk at the front, it doesn't look like this Zerg force can do that much. Corruptors are now flying in here. All the Colossi were Fungal Growth down, and with so many Corruptors, these Colossi are not going to stand a chance. The Immortals and Stalkers are retreating into the natural. Only one Colossi left, and this is going to get taken down as well. Stalkers are focusing down on the Corruptors, but the damage has been done, losing a lot of Colossi. Resources lost are favoring the Zerg player, and now the Corruptors are going to get shot down by these Stalkers. And remember, the Stalkers do have Blink as well, so they can forward Blink to be aggressive. But look at this creep spread from Scarlett. The creep spread is basically 70-80% across the map, and is basically at the front door of Jim's base. And with Spine Crawlers here too, with Fungal Growth, it's forcing Jim into a lot of confrontations that Jim does not want to get involved with. And we've got so many Queens right here knocking at the front door. We've got 9 Queens. And though Queens are not that good as an army unit, they do have Transfuse. They do have very long anti-air attacks. And now a stream of Zerglings are going to go into the probe line at the third base of Jim. Holding position, the Stalkers are going to engage here, but that just creates a perfect diversion for the Broodlings and the Queens that just march into the natural as well. And now the Zergling force has been cleaned up by Jim, but Jim has to deal with this other attacking force at the natural coming up the ramp. Lots of Broodlings, but unfortunately the Stalkers are not that good. Going to have to blink forward if you want to focus down on these Broodlings. But the Stalkers are just firing on these Broodlings and not the Broodlords, and Jim is going to have to tap out, and Scarlett able to beat Jim 2-0. Great army composition, and just look at this creep spread. Jim, I remember Jim was able to take out 1 creep tumor, but other than that creep tumor at the beginning of the game with 3 Zealots, I'm not sure if he took another one down or not. And once the Zerg player has so much creep spread, it's so easy to march your army across the map. You've got static defenses so close to the Protoss base as well. And Jim was not able to do much about that. Too many Broodlords, just too good, all from Scarlett. So Scarlett is going to move on to the quarterfinals. So great game by both players, and I'll see you guys next time.